Yeah.
And 3, 2, 1. Welcome to the It's Far Too Early to Be Awake edition of in my time zone of the Global Podcast Editor Chats. We come at you. That sounds awful. Twice a month on this YouTube channel, as well as the other places that I hope this is streaming to right now. And yes, we talk about the different things that we are struggling with in our podcast editing world. It is just 8 o'clock for me, so forgive me as I stumble through words. I am so not a morning person. We're going to go around and meet the editors and it's lovely editors that are around me in just a moment. But I want to tell you just a little bit more about our community, if I may do so, which I'm doing it. Okay. So Global Podcast Editors is a community of podcast editors around the world where we help each other push through the isolation and the different questions and challenges that we have in various forms. There is a newsletter that comes out also twice a month, but on opposite weeks to this event. And there is, it worked. And there is the information for that for those of you watching in the chat room. If you are in the chat room, please do leave a comment and let us know you're here, and feel free to ask questions at any point. We'll work them into the event, of course. We also have a private Google group where we're sharing, which is a part of the premium membership of the newsletter, where we're sharing jobs and advice. We had a long discussion this week on pricing. Whew, it's been a big one, but I think it's been helpful. Jobs, pricing, technical stuff, and just, again, helping each other through the isolation. Okay, I need to stop talking because I sound like a frog right now, and you guys have much lovelier voices than I do. So let's go around and meet the wonderful editors in our group today. Puneeth, can you start us off, please?
Yeah,
Tell us
sure.
a little bit about yourself.
So, hello, fellow podcasters, podcast editors. My name is Puneeth Shenoy. I'm an audio producer / editor from India. I've been editing some of the top podcasts in the world, like Young and Profiting Podcast, True Underdog Podcast, Jordan Harbinger for Blinkist, and etc. etc. So on. I recently started my own production house in March called Podcast Pundits, and that's what I've been working for the past couple of months. That's me.
Fantastic. Helen.
Awesome.
Kia ora from New Zealand. It is evening here, and I kind of share your pain, Steph, because I'm not a morning person, but then I fizzle out in the evening. So we can both sort of look like stunned deer together.
That is the best way to describe my expression right now. Thank you. Yes.
It's so cool to be here. So I am a podcaster and a podcast editor / producer. I started podcasting a couple of years ago, like every man and their dog during the pandemic and the lockdowns. And because I have a background in journalism and production, I discovered that it brought together everything I love about those two industries. And so I work with people here in New Zealand, but also in the US. And more recently, I have worked for one of the media companies here, producing as one of the producers for a podcast about our major soap. Because when you live in a small island nation, you have only one major soap opera.
Awesome.
So that was a lot of fun. That was that was a really cool experience. And so that's me. You might hear my dogs, and I will apologize for that, but it wouldn't be a live podcast without a dog, a cat, or a child.
Yes. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and put Puneeth's information here. And you know what, dogs and it's not a live event if a child or a dog does not, and I don't want to say interrupt, doesn't join us. I actually like it when they do. Like, everybody smiles and relaxes a little bit more when they show up. So, touche. I hope he or she does. All right, Karthik.
Hello, I'm Karthik Kulkarni. I am the head of audio production at Made in India. That's a podcast production company in India. I have been in the audio or the sound industry for about 12 years now. I started off in films, and then I discovered the wonderful world of podcasts and audio only media like 3 years back. All thanks to May Thomas, who's the founder of Made in India. And we've been having fun just producing good podcasts. And yeah, loving every minute of it. That's me. And also, yeah, you might hear my cat wailing in the back because he's not allowed in the room for the moment.
I don't have any pets. I'm so jealous. Okay, fantastic. Oh, and yeah, right. I'm Steph. I'm. When I say I run GPE, I mean I kind of muddle through the messiness of what it has started. I am also a podcast editor, and I also write about podcasting, and I'm starting to create workshops and courses and things, which is not in my messy nature to do, but it's been kind of fun. Yeah, and I'm an American, but I've been living overseas for over 20 years. Right now, I'm digital nomading reluctantly through Europe, and I'm in Valencia, Spain for a few more weeks. This month, we moved this month to Romania. It is now September 1st. That's why I'm so deer in headlight. So, yeah, let's get this started. All right, so the first challenge. Dun, dun, dun. Is there any desire to go first? Raise your hands. No, it's not a classroom. Does anybody want to go first?
Go on, Kartik.
Yeah, I think that was yeah.
Yeah, I can go.
So, Kartik, what is your biggest podcast editing challenge recently?
Just a fair bit of warning. I might go on a different tangent because there's so many challenges right now.
Please. Yeah.
But my biggest at the moment is noise cleaning for sure. Doing noise cleaning, doing audio cleanups on podcasts that have been recorded, remotely, not in a studio, not in an controlled environment, or not even for that matter using like mics, just like your laptop mics, right? So at Made in India, we do like different genres of podcasts, and that includes that we do a lot of online recording. We primarily use Riverside for recording our remote podcast. And not all guests have like the best of audio equipment or the best of the environment. So we do end up having
That's putting it nicely.
Yeah. We do end up having a lot of say, and like again, we're in India, which beautiful country but noisy like crazy, right? So we do end up having a lot of traffic, a lot of multiple kinds of noises in the background. And what I feel is like getting someone's voice in a podcast is the best, like it's their version of telling their best true story.
Yeah.
And if that doesn't come across right, and like if you're straining your ears to like listen to someone talk, that's just not done. So my biggest challenge is cleaning up online recordings, and be it traffic, be it birds, be it like random hums, be it cats and dogs also, because for some podcasts it's fun to have cats and dogs in the background, but if you're talking something serious, it just takes away from the gravity of the conversation. Correct. And like the thing is, we do these like protocols before we start recording. Like we tell them to switch off fans and ACs, but then India, again being a tropical country, it's just too difficult to expect everyone to switch off fans and ACs.
Yeah.
So you end up having that noise in your recording.
Oh, gosh. I have to stop you for a second. May just added to, or somebody from Made in India just added to the chat room that we had a woman wearing bangles. Oh my God. Long metal earrings. I learned that one the hard way. I mean, I know bangles are on the wrist. Yeah. Metal. And I have a high sensitivity towards high pitch sounds. So when I heard that repeatedly, I was just like what is happening? Yeah. So
And,
let me ask you a question. Actually, is there one particular sound that you're struggling with more than others? Like trying to clean it out, and it's being difficult to get rid of.
Yes. So sometimes what happens is um, different countries have like different electrical systems, right? And they run on. Sorry, I'm getting a bit more nerdy on this, but they run on
Please.
these like different frequency spectrums. So in India, we run on like 50 hertz, and then some people the grounding is not that great, and then when you've plugged your laptop in because it's charging and you don't want it to drain out, you get this electrical hum which is just covers the entire frequency spectrum, and no matter how much you RX it, no how much you go into the spectral editor to take it out, it's still there. And that is just the most unforgiving noise that it is, because it's constantly there and it's bugging you. So I think that's the most challenging noise that is there right now at the moment. Rest of the things it still can be managed, but that one thing is just brutal.
Yeah, and if you do it too much, you can create sound artifacts that make it sound worse.
Yeah, exactly. So
yeah.
it's always like this you're walking on a tight rope, because if you go this side, it's like completely artifacty, and then the other side, it's just like can't do this, can't deal with this.
Yeah. Oh man, Puneeth and Helen, what kind of sounds do you have often that seep into your client work?
For me, it's
Helen's
most
shaking
of
her
the
head.
time I mean, for
You
me,
can go,
it's not
Puneeth, yeah.
necessarily sounds per se, but most of the time it's clipping that I have to do
Oh yeah.
because,
Yeah.
and that was one of the challenges that I faced. Is, I mean, very similar to what Karthik said. I mean, most people nowadays record online, and it is very, very, very difficult to actually make the host or the guest understand how to use a mic, right?
Oh my God.
I mean, it's quite simple. It's literally quite simple to use a microphone. I mean, especially for podcasting. But they either keep it here or they keep it here. I mean, come on. There is a particular distance they have to keep it from your mouth. But that is, to me personally, the most difficult thing to deal with is clipping. I mean, RX does help quite a lot with its declip module. But the more you do it, it introduces this kind of like this underwater kind of sound. The declip and the de-reverb module, both of them, it kind of makes it kind of bubbly and wobbly kind of thing. Which again, just like what Karthik said, it is either terribly harsh and rough, or it sounds like a robot.
Yeah. Helen?
Oh, I just have been nodding here. Like, do you guys have those dogs that sit at the back of the car, and as the car moves, it? Yes, all of the things. I'm fascinated by the fact that different countries have different electrical noises, but I won't go down that road. I think the podcast. Sorry, I'm getting overexcited. I think the microphone technique thing is really interesting, and I think one of the great things that I found from working on the recent production, and I had a colleague with me, and he was very much more the technical side, and I was doing, I guess, what you might call content production or lineup producer. And he was, because he comes from an audio background, he was really, he had no problems going, you need to be closer to your mic, you need to do this. And so I've brought that into with my clients, because I think people aren't used to being close to a mic, and if you're not using visuals, it doesn't matter if you can't see the person's face and things. But I feel like Zoom and Riverside and those sorts of things are fantastic on so many levels, but they have ruined us a little bit in terms of what our expectations are for audio quality, because you can be editing something with 3 different speakers, and they've all either got, one might have a microphone and it's great, and you can, if you are there in Riverside with them producing them, you can get them, sounding lovely. But then if you have two different other situations, when it comes to editing that podcast, it can be really disheartening as an editor, because you think, all of these things are so different. And I really noticed that I have a lovely client who is almost ready to launch her podcast, and we have been recording at a small studio, and the difference of editing those episodes where I've been able to say, right, this is your mic technique, and they're both on the same microphones, and it's in a studio, and all of those sorts of things is so different to when you have someone on Zoom, someone on a mic, someone on a headset. It's it's great that we have access to podcasting, but it's also at the same time, it's really hard if you want it to sound at the best it can, but you have all these different sort of situations that you're editing.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. And I have to say that we got a comment in the chat room that Kritik is the coolest. So you're doing something right.
Well, thanks. That's Alex from our team.
Okay. Oh my gosh. So I don't feel like we've helped you at all, though. So let's dig into our research. I mean, for some of those sounds, oh my gosh, those high pitch frequency sounds. And I can what is the word? There's a word that I want to use right now. I can relate to what you're saying about the electrical sounds. When I lived in Vietnam, the sounds of the electrical what are they called? The things outside that you can see.
Yeah,
with
the wires.
The wires.
Cables. Yeah.
Yeah, they were so loud that's when I started wearing earplugs at night sometimes, because they were just like, and I wasn't a podcaster then, so thank goodness for that. But they would just keep me awake just because they were so loud. So I can only imagine what that would do to a recording, especially if you couldn't like close a window to keep some of it out or things like that. So, wow. Are there any things that you noticed, Kritik? Are there any things that you noticed that make that sound, that particular electrical sound, better that you didn't know when you first started struggling with it?
It really doesn't make it better. Only thing what I've noticed is if you find the bass frequency, which it is, and you try to take that out and the closest harmonics. So that really helps to at least clear some of it out. You still hear it in the background, but at least the thing which is right in your face, that goes away. And again, RX Audio Editor is such a wonderful tool that you can literally see everything that's there. Like you can pick out the frequency that you want to take out. So and it just shows up like this chunky rectangular like completely red line in it, and then you can just take it out. But yeah, that definitely helps taking it out. But again, 100% is a dream. It's just never gonna happen.
No, it is. And and I know that studios are the ideal, but for me, I really love nature and sunlight. And so when I have been in a studio, I can't relax. I don't feel myself. So my voice sounds worse because I just feel trapped.
Oh, that's so funny.
So it's just, I'm not meant to be working for a network. Let's just say that. Anyway, okay. Awesome. So let's go clockwise then. Helen, how about you? Oh, I kind of know a little bit of what Helen's challenge is, so I'm excited about this. I'm excited about all of these, but Helen, can you take us to the next challenge?
My challenges. I've been through a really weird period, I think, in the past few months where because it's winter here in the southern hemisphere. We're actually just coming out of winter, and it has been, I mean, I actually do really like winter, but it has been cold and wet and a bit miserable. And I hit a wall completely with just producing content. And so my podcast that I make is about life after a cancer diagnosis, and I have loved making it. It's been an extremely cathartic experience, and I think it's helped in my recovery. I don't know what happened, but after my last season, it sort of all seemed to sort of coincide with feeling like, oh, I just don't want to be on social media at the moment. There's so much craziness in the world, and just feeling like just all this pressure to be constantly producing content. And I don't know, there was this little part of me that just started to rebel. It's like, no, I don't want to. I don't want to be constantly churning this stuff out. And so I thought, well, I'll take a little break. And so I've stepped back from social media, and what I found was not constantly being, checking stuff, especially in terms of like the cancer space. I started to feel a lot better. I didn't realize how much, and I think, I think it is a heavy topic, and I never really saw it as a heavy topic because it was my reality, it was my life. But it was things like, when you're a younger person who's had cancer, the reality is that people will pass away from it, and frequently, and there'll be reoccurrences, and all of that stuff started happening. And so I, took that step back. And so, we so often talk about pod fade and like how to avoid it and stuff. And there's part of me that thinks with this situation, well, is it pod fade, or is it that some topics or some shows and things have a life cycle? And for me, maybe this is the end of that cycle. I've said all I need to say. But unfortunately, it sort of trickled into the business side of things where I got busy. I, had clients launching podcasts. I've been doing, the production and with the media company. And I don't know, I just hit this wall where I haven't felt like producing anything. And I felt quite disconnected even from, like the editing community. So it's been, a really strange space to be in.
Yeah. I can so relate to this. Oh my goodness. So I just came back with the micro season of my passion project, because I have to label things that aren't monetarily advantageous right now. And last weekend for Geopaths, and straddling, even though I've been working on those episodes for months, straddling like the publication of those 4 episodes while still running the business and doing all of this stuff, like those 2 hats at the same time. And the emotional toll of the season, it was a more intimate season than I normally do. That knocked me out. And my emotional season is nothing compared to what you're talking about with cancer and everything that is included with that. So there is an emotional space and emotional pause that is often needed with this kind of thing in normal circumstances. And then with the more serious conversations, I imagine it's even bigger. And how do you juggle that? Now, does it have to be pod fade though, or can it just be a respectful break? Respectful long break.
Thing. Yeah, because I think pod fades are really funny, and Carrie has written so eloquently and spoken so well on it, and so I think I look at it quite differently, where I don't think I've necessarily faded out. I think especially with the topic, you do shift and change and where you are in your life. And I guess there's part of me that sort of thinks, oh, I'm okay just not shutting the door completely, but I'm sort of at this point where I'm thinking, maybe I just need to have that sort of space to let myself feel into what feels okay. But I think the other thing you touched on, which so many people in the industry would relate to, is that idea around your passion projects. And then when you start to really, you're balancing your client stuff, or, for business and those sorts of things. I think it's almost like you just run out and you think, I just don't have the creative energy anymore to be churning stuff out and not feeling like this sort of sausage factory of content.
Well, let me ask it. I have way too much to say about this, but I don't want to hear me. I want to hear the gentleman. Puneeth and Kartik, is there a creative project that you're kind of straddling as you're doing client work? Like, do you have this push and pull as well?
Yeah, I mean, like luckily, I work with a company where I don't have to deal with clients. I'm very pleased that way.
Thanks for waiting
Like,
till I drank to say that. Thanks.
so,
Oh, that's awesome.
but I
That is the
completely get.
comment of the night.
Uh, but I completely get where Helen's also coming from. Like this creative, like you get stuck in a creative zone, right? So I'll give you an example. Right now, we are working on these podcasts, and they deal with human trafficking and stories around that.
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
And
yeah.
for like most of them, we had to like go on location and record people,
Wow.
and just like being there, listening to the stories, and also like experiencing it in firsthand. Like like you
Yep.
look at where they're living and everything, right? That does take a toll on you. And then when you come back and you're listening through it and you're editing and like doing design for it, you definitely need like a sort of a breather, from what you're doing. Like although you do love working on this and you want to tell the best story that is, but then somewhere it does, like at the end of the day you are also like a human being, you're a person, and you're like listening to someone else's story which they've gone through so much. It does take a toll on you. But again, like this is, I know we're like patting ourselves on our backs with Made in India here, but both May and Sean do a wonderful job in balancing the type of shows we do. So at the moment, like on one hand we do these shows, and on the other hand we do some light-hearted shows also. So that helps me to like balance between being like completely emotionally taken out from drained from this, but also I can come back to something that I love, and I'm like doing fun stuff also on other shows. So again, I'm probably the most happiest person working like this right now.
Okay, I think the entire production house of Made in India is watching
They
right
are
now.
here. They've just stopped work.
Oh, this is funny. Okay, in case the podcast of DPE ever comes back, I'm still going to vocalize the things that we're seeing on the screen. So Hussein said, having said that, all of our clients are always charmed by the little interactions they do have with Kurtzik. That's hilarious. I love it.
I love this.
I love it.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I never thought about that for the on-site stuff with the heavy topics and things. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Puneet, how about you?
I really can't think of anything.
Yeah. You lucky duck.
I mean, in fact, I'm actually almost always looking for more. Right? I don't feel kind of burnt out or anything like that. I'm looking for more all the time.
Yeah. Oh, there's another comment. Let's see. So I think May is the one saying this one. Sean and I are, or the producer. Can I read this morning? Sean and I, or the producer for the podcast, fight the creative battles with the client so that Kriti can be the diva. Diva!
That is hilarious.
Wow. You're a
Yeah.
diva.
Yeah, you should attend our editorial meetings. You'll come because I just go, no, this sounds good. No, I'm not changing this. No, why is this like this? No, and then they're like, fine, we'll handle the client. So yeah.
That's awesome. That is awesome. Okay, so we're actually going to take a 30-second to 1 minute break, and there's a smiley face in the chat room. A break right now. Editors, feel free to jump up, move around, grab a drink, do what you need to do. I'm actually going to do something like this and get you off screen for what? No, wait, before I do that, I need to change who's where on the screen. I'm going to do a quick information dump on the community as our pretend mid-roll, if people do mid-rolls in YouTube. That's what I'm doing right now. So feel free to get up and move around for a minute if you so wish. Right. So the Global Podcast Editors community, I just want to remind folks, is on a few different platforms. We are over on Substack. That is where the newsletter sits. And in 1 second, I'm actually going to grab the link that is going to scroll across the screen for you. So feel free to join us over there. There's supposed to be two issues a month, but I have gone crazy. And every Monday, I also do it kind of what's coming up this week issue called Mocha Mondays. All of the issues have some sort of like tip or trick or like article or thing that is hopefully of value to editors in different parts of the world. And yeah, so there is that. There are also these videos, which right now, and this is, and I've been experimenting more. We use StreamYard to send these chats out into the world, and I'm playing with where I send them actually. And today we're sending this out over to our YouTube channel. We're also over on streaming live on Facebook and on Twitter. Believe it or not, Twitter, you can stream from using StreamYard over to Twitter, either a live like we're doing here, or I did a few pre-recorded lives, which seems to make no sense, that were like 45 minutes long last weekend, and they went over to Twitter. It saves the whole thing over there. I never knew that was possible. Anyway, yay to StreamYard for having a tool that does that. So we're all over the place, but you can definitely find all of the replays of this over on YouTube on the Global Podcast Editors site. If you're watching this on YouTube, please do like this video. If you like it, like this video, do the thumbs up, and do subscribe so you get notifications on different things that we put here. We have more than just the chat. We have our imposter syndrome series, which I need more volunteers for, by the way. There's another CTA for you. And we have some tutorials and some other things on there. So please do dig into our playlists over there. And oh, and final thing is within the newsletter ecosystem, we have a premium subscription, which comes with more value, and our Google group is attached to that, and that's where we're sharing the jobs and helping each other out, and it's that kind of communicative space, and that is for our premium subscribers for the newsletter. All right, I am done talking way too much. I need to drink more coffee, so I'm going to bring everybody back with me here, and I'm going to move it so my head is cut off by the lovely logo that Matsu from Hainai Podcast has graciously made for us. And we're back. Puneeth, what kind of struggle are you having in podcast editing?
I wouldn't say it's necessarily about podcast editing specifically, but since I've started my production house, it's more on the business side right now. I mean, I've always been kind of like this technical kind of guy, and getting into the business aspect of things, that is kind of, I mean, it's exciting, but it's at the same time a bit challenging. And the biggest one I am facing right now is, landing clients. And since most of my clients and the way that I like to do it is on LinkedIn, and when I message some of the podcasters, right, these podcasters, they usually get, 50, 100 messages every day. And the struggle for me is to write the first one or two lines which will catch their attention, kind of like copywriting. So that is kind of my biggest challenge right now. And I'm, learning from, different kinds of newsletters, like from Justin Welsh or Nicholas Cole. I've subscribed to these newsletters, and I'm learning how to copyright, how to DM people, and how to, grab their attention from just the first one or two lines. That is my biggest challenge right now.
Copywriting is hard. Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you think that might be one of the first things that you outsource when you expand your team?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah. Copywriting and I would say anything marketing or promotion related. That's the first thing I would outsource.
Yeah, for sure. Helen and Kartik, how do you deal with that? The writing, social media, marketing side of your endeavors.
I think it is challenging. I mean, I come from a journalism background, and copywriting is a different beast. It really is. Like, it's even understanding, and I don't understand this at all, like the SEO and all of that stuff. And I think what you've kind of talked about is what so many of us struggle with, is that when you keep going to business, all of a sudden you have to be everything. You know, you have to be the technical person, you have to be the marketing person, you have to be account, you have to be customer service. And, you know, it can be so overwhelming trying to figure out, where do I put my energy? Yeah. So I think that is a challenging one. But one of the things that I like to do is choose one platform. And I think LinkedIn is a fantastic and underutilized platform for networking. Because it just, it feels a little bit more serious, and it's, people know that you're there in terms of a work sort of thing, and just not to spread yourself too thin. It's just, choose the platform where you feel like it really aligns with, your values and brand as a business, and really focus attention there.
That's really good advice. Kartik, what do you think? What's your experience with this?
I'm gonna be the spoiled kid here again, and
He doesn't deal with it.
diva. I am a diva. we've got brilliant producers on our team who take care of all of these. So that just lets me be like, we do all this, handle all the sound and just that, and then spoiled brat.
I love this.
Yeah, May wrote in, ha 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 ha, spoiled brat. But to be fair, you also have. Oh wait,
Have we lost?
I think Puneet came. It's okay. When he comes back in, I'll let him in. Don't worry. And also, why isn't this working now? Oh, there it is. Also, Anoop says, "Hi, Kartik. How are you?"
Hey,
So you've
Anoop, I'm
got
doing good.
fans and all your divaness. So
Love it.
oh, this is weird. I'm trying to. It always looks really. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah, the visual gets really weird when it goes from 4 to 3 people. So yeah, no, that's good. That's good. Oh, we have another comment. Andrew says, "Hey, Andrew, I agree with Helen to be in one place where some of your potential clients will be, but that you have to be consistent. You do.
Yeah.
And I think the hardest thing for me was to stop being so businessy, is to be yourself and to stop writing in a way online that was best practices that everybody talked about, and to just actually talk to the people that I was talking to in writing, to talk to them and to listen to their feedback. And when I would hit on something, to lean into that tone instead of, oh, here's Puneet, instead of trying to just like check all the social media boxes that I was supposed to actually communicate with people and focus on that aspect of it. And that made it a lot easier for me to remember the people on the platform that I want to talk to, not so much the perfectness of the tweet or the post or the message and that kind of thing. You're back.
Yay!
The power's down. Didn't expect this to happen.
Oh no.
I'm on my phone right now.
Thank you for coming back.
I think that's a really interesting point, though, Steph. And because I've read quite a few different books about, being in business, because, I hadn't come from a business background. And I am starting to think that a lot of it may not apply to you, depending on who you are and what your circumstances are. Finding stuff that resonates with your situation is quite challenging. And so I have found the same thing, that when I'm really like myself and kind of authentic and talk about, this is my experience, or these are some of the things, people really, they get a bit more drawn to that than that sort of stuff that feels quite formulaic. But I also think that's where some of that fatigue can come from. And I know that has been for myself, where sometimes I get to a point where I think I don't want to give so much of myself, online and things like that. But I guess this is, when you are your business, there is that kind of sacrifice in a way of going, well, I've got to market myself, so I need to put myself out there.
Yeah. So on LinkedIn, Puneet, you said you're mostly focusing on LinkedIn, right? Uh-oh, did we lose him again?
I think it's frozen again.
Oh no. Oh, there
He's
you are.
back.
Are you, Puneeth? Can you hear me? Uh-oh. Can you hear us?
Hi, Puneeth.
Uh-oh.
I
Okay.
think he's there.
No.
No.
No. I think he's having tech issues. Yeah. Hey, I've gotten kicked off of a live stream where I was hosting. And come back with my own phone. It's tricky sometimes with tech.
Yes.
Yeah, I think again the biggest thing I think is to be yourself. Like look at best practices because they exist for a reason, and then play with it and see how people respond to what you're doing. And it's
Yeah.
And you know what?
Yeah.
I'm actually going to tie this into my own challenge because the biggest struggle I'm having right now is talking about how I'm doing stuff, like how I'm making the cheese, without sounding manipulative. Because I'm doing some client attraction workshops, and this is the thing. In talking about process stuff, it sounds like promotional, right? Join my client attraction workshops, and you'll be overwhelmed with people. No, the thing is, like. The big things that I'm honing in on is humanizing your presence online. And
Yeah.
far too many of us go very businessy or very technical. And that's not what draws podcasters in. So I'm trying to like encourage people to like show themselves on their websites and like share a little bit of something about themselves, whether it be like a hobby or something that connects people to that. But I'm having a hard time stressing or I feel like in my head, I'm feeling people, even though they're not saying it, and I feel like it might be coming across as manipulate and tweak people so that they like you, so that they'll be in your business. And that's not what I mean. I mean, literally just this put down the business barrier and be yourself so that people can learn who you are, so the right people can be attracted to you and you can work together. But I find it really hard because I find as I'm saying these things to people and encouraging them and like seeing things on their social media and saying, why don't you put that on your website? Or why don't you do more of this? Or maybe experiment with that? Because I love the word experiment. And the practice of experimenting, but I feel like it might come across as manipulative, like playing with people's emotions. So I'm struggling with how to say that without constantly having to have disclaimers of, but please remember, I don't mean this in a manipulative way. Like, how do you, how do you do that?
I think what you're talking about is basic marketing. Like people, when you make a purchasing decision, you are buying an idea.
Yeah.
You know, like I bought this microphone because I looked into different things and I've bought a microphone, but actually what I've brought is an idea of being a professional or sounding good or a podcaster. And so I think that's one of the things to think about in terms of, you know, when you're branding yourself or you're branding a podcast and things, is that people are buying an idea. They're attracted to an idea of something or an emotion and those sorts of things. And it's okay. It's okay to sell. It's okay to make money. It's okay to want to make money. I think that we're often, I know certainly culturally in New Zealand, it is very much you don't talk about your successes. And you don't, I don't know if they have this saying anywhere else, but tall poppy syndrome. Wait,
Tall poppy?
Tall poppy syndrome. It's a very Kiwi thing where we don't like to see people bragging about themselves.
Tall poppy. Oh, okay. Yeah.
And so for me, when I started really thinking about business, I read American books because you guys are so like out there in terms.
I think we're on the other extreme sometimes, if I'm honest. Yeah.
That I needed that kind of rah, you can do it.
And maybe that's where part of my, like, you know, the devil and the angel sitting on your shoulders kind of thing is, I think maybe that's where it's coming in, is I don't want to come across as that super aggressive, pushy, like always talk about yourself to get business kind of like professional. Maybe that's it. I'm being overly cautious and not wanting to be that person. Oh gosh, I don't know. Puneeth, can you hear us?
Yeah, I can.
Yes. All right, he's back. So we're We're talking about me trying not to come across as a scummy marketing person when I try to help editors be more of their embodied selves. So Andrew had a good comment in the, well, who am I to judge? Had a comment in the chat room. It doesn't sound like manipulation to me, more that you don't want to sound clickbaity or those scummy messages like, oh, just do these things to get 10,000 more clicks a week. Exactly. Because also I'm not a marketing expert. I'm just, there's trends I'm noticing, that things that people are doing and doing well and not doing well. And I just want to highlight them and kind of like workshop people to being more of themselves. So it's just more of it's more of an experiment to me. Yeah, but it feels weird sometimes, because I think it just feels weird sometimes. So I'm trying to get over that.
Yeah, but I think Andrew's made a really good point, and I don't know about what, your guys' experiences, on, I think Instagram, especially for this, where you get people talking about, I've been an entrepreneur for 2 minutes and I'm already making already making 6 figures. That to me, that would not draw me in. But, someone going, hey, I've got this formula, or, you can work with me and I will help you figure out where you fit the most, or you're your most authentic self. That to me isn't manipulation. Yeah.
Well, Puneet, do you feel like when you're doing that marketing, do you feel like you're being yourself, or do you feel like you're putting on not a show, but do you feel like you're turning in you're putting on different hats, like you're being a professional self versus your sound self or your other self? I don't know. Am I making any sense? Oh, technology sucks. And there he goes again. Well, Kritik, I'm going to put that question. Well, you don't do any marketing.
I mean, I could. So before, I faced similar challenges, but before coming into podcasting, when I was a sound designer and sound editor for films, and I was working freelance, so I used to face the same thing. That again, in India, it's 50-50. Like, some people like go out and completely like, hey, this is me, and some people are very reserved.
Yeah.
I used to be that like reserved kind of a person when it came to my my art or my work, and I see a lot of my contemporaries who will put out these like short Instagram videos of their deconstruction of the sound design they did, right? And I tried doing that, but then I used to like never end up hitting the upload button, because I used to like, am I just like being too show offy, or what's happening, right?
Yeah.
And also there was this like other side, that what if people don't find it good? What if like then what happens? And like that it should be such a blow on your self confidence.
Yeah.
But then over the period of time, you're like, hey, this is you, man. This is your work, and everyone has their own creative process, right?
Yeah.
So
That's so true.
yeah, and that sort of hindered my progress in some way, because unfortunately, like the Indian film industry, it does work on a lot of, hey, this is me, this is, all the bling in the show and everything.
Yeah.
And that is where I lacked in some cases. And I would say that, like, if you are a freelancer and you have to somewhere do it very tactfully, where it doesn't come across as he's just showing off, or but it should come across like, hey, he's doing cool stuff, or he's doing good work.
Yeah, I think you really hit the nail on the head there. There is such a balance between showing what you're doing and coming across as showing off. like where is that line in that? And I'm actually reading a book on imposter syndrome right now. Okay, I'm listening to a book on imposter syndrome. That's I don't find it necessarily interesting, but it's really it's triggering things in me that need to come out. So I guess it is good, but it's not necessarily like the content's not riveting, but it's really appropriate. It's called it's really long. The Secret Thoughts of Successful Women by Valerie Young. And and she says in the beginning, it's not just for women, but it's all about imposter syndrome and teasing out those emotions versus just moving forward kind of thing, and just not letting it stop you. and how common imposter syndrome is, and
Oh yes.
yeah, and all of that. Puneeth, can you hear us? Because you're still on the screen. Oh no. Oh yay. Oh, you're muted.
I'm just going in and out. My network is
I
really,
know.
really
Oh
bad.
no.
I'm so
Yeah.
sorry. I'm so sorry. Technology. Okay, let's
Yeah.
wrap this up then, because we're oh gosh, we're at 50 minutes already. Okay. So we have covered an insanely wonderful amount of different kinds of things today. We talked about the challenges of sound cleanup and creative pauses that need to happen, and the struggles of marketing, of knowing what to do and being yourself and not coming across as a pushy know-it-all. and dealing with imposter syndrome. So we've run the gamut, and in so many beautiful ways. And I want to thank everybody that was in the chat room today. That was quite. There were more comments than that. So if you're watching this, feel free to scroll through and see all of that. And again, we've been on Facebook and Twitter and why am I spacing on the third one? Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. That's where we've been streaming to today, which is awesome. And those will remain there. So if anybody likes what they're seeing and they're on those platforms, please go over to those platforms, find us, and retweet, remessage, share these events. These are as good as the people we have on them. That sounded weird. These events are as varied as the varied population of editors that we have here. And words are hard this early in the morning. Please, Anoop is saying, please, can you suggest a book for podcasting? That's a big question. While we
can.
wrap up, let me ask you, Anoop, what about podcasting? What part of podcasting? And I'll keep going with the closing this out. Let's go through where folks can find these. Let's go through where folks can find you all online if they want to reach out and say, you are not a diva, you're amazing. So Helen, let's remind folks where they can find you.
You can find me sometimes on Instagram or over at my website, which is scrolling there, but it's hkproductionsnz.com, or on LinkedIn, Helen King in Auckland, New Zealand.
Awesome. Puneeth?
Puneeth is at podcastpundits.com.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you, Helen. And Kartik?
You can find me on LinkedIn, Kartik Kulkarni, and also on Instagram. That's kartik.kulkarni on Instagram.
Awesome. And for me, my handle's at the bottom left corner of the screen, which I will forever point to incorrectly, so I'm not going to. I also write the newsletter, and all my handles are in there as well. Again, the newsletter is over on Substack, and our YouTube channel has a bunch of different things, including these live chats. And I did Anoop reply. Let's see what he said. Nope, not yet.
Yeah.
So Anoop, feel free to hit me up on the socials with that question, and we'll get that answered for you. Aw. And apparently we did well. Great session. Thank you for it. Thank you so much.
Yay.
Thank you.
I think there needs to be a special shout out to Kartik's cat, who is going to be
Right?
the winner in all of this once we finish and the door opens.
I've been wanting to open the door, but I couldn't quite reach it.
I can
Poor
I
thing.
can open the door right now live. Let's see if
Yes.
it comes inside. Just
Let's
We
see the
need to
cat.
see the
I'm
cat.
such a cat person. It's ridiculous. Like, as soon as we stop moving around, I am getting a cat. I have warned my husband. So, cat.
He's looking at me like, what's wrong with
Tell us the name, Kartik. What's their name?
That's Timon. Say hi, Timon.
Timon, you're
Oh.
precious. Oh my gosh. Well, that's our screenshot right there. That's gonna go in our thumbnail. Oh my gosh. That is lovely. I really want to thank Kartik, Timon, Puneeth, and Helen for joining us today.
This was
Seriously.
lovely, guys.
Yeah, the stuff that you guys brought up and your comments on each other's issues has been really, I have a lot to think about as soon as I wake up in bed today. And yes, and I'm done. Do you guys have any final comments or things you want to say before we head out?
Thank you for having us.
Yeah, this has been wonderful.
Fantastic.
Love to connect with you like on socials and let's
Yeah.
stay in touch. Yeah, yeah.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay. Editors, hang out for a second. Everybody in the chat room and who's watching us live on Facebook, YouTube, and Twitter, we're heading out. Bye. Everybody say bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Have a good one. Bye.